Now there's the other side. The other side of the reef. I'll just do a video on this side. I'm basically waiting for the all the cormorants out there to fly to the channel to start fishing. And there's some eider ducks playing in the water. The sun, the sun is still early in the sky, and it's moving. It's the angles of the sunlight bouncing off the water are continually changing. So that will affect how and where I film a subject. Yeah, Nikons and Canons are good, but you have to work with the light. If you don't work with the light, you're not going to get your perfect photo or your perfect video. Now, my perfect video for this would be if I was only a couple 100 feet from them, and then I could zoom them in just like they were only feet away. That's the kind of video I do like. I'm definitely going to take a walk back over to the mud flat so I can film that channel. It's getting a little busier. I see one seal swimming in the waters just off the east side of the beach. As the tide keeps coming in, the water starts covering more seaweed covered reef. The fish are going to start moving around. The seals will get busier and busier. Now, the distance, the true physical distance between that little piece of reef and that buoy out there has got to be about 200 yards. Not 200 yards, 200 feet. Yeah, a couple hundred feet. Maybe 300 feet. I'm not sure. I'm certainly not going to try to walk out there and measure it. Oh, I would love to have a boat, though. I really would love to have a boat. Then again, a small boat out there in these waters, well, the currents are very strong. I would not have enough time to do any filming. I would be too busy paddling that small boat to stay close to the reef, stay close to shore. Otherwise, the currents would carry my boat way out past those buoys. And I'm not prepared to do that, to experience that. I experienced currents when I was a kid. My twin brother and I and our cousin were on a sandbar just off the beach, and we were hanging on this driftwood log, and we were talking. It was beautiful, sunny, wonderful, and we were on the sand, but we were on a sandbar. The water was only maybe 4 feet deep, but we got talking and we didn't notice, but there was tide change and current. We drifted out past the farthest. We drifted out past the buoys that are 1,200 feet out, and how we discovered that was I let go of the log, and I dropped down through, I think it must have been 20 or 30 feet of water toward brown clay bottom. And I came back up and I grabbed onto that driftwood log for dear life, and and we kick paddled the log back to shore. But we were quite far out then. Well, pretty soon the cormorants are going to fly off, and I know where they're going. They're going to the other part of the reef. If I try moving this camera over to that higher part of the reef, it's probably going to fade out. Well, I'll give it a shot. If it happens, I'll just call it the end of the video. Oh my gosh. It worked. that seagull pulling a seaweed, and it ate it. Okay, like I said, the seagull knows what seaweeds are edible. There's four different kinds of seaweeds, and they're all good. They have they contain everything from omega-3 to whatever else the human body needs. So the seagull is doing well. I am quite surprised that the Bay Ferries went out on its run. The Nova Scotia border is now closed. So I am wondering where the ferry's going. I was hoping for some seal activity and dolphin activity, but apparently there aren't any yet. I'll have to wait till the tide gets up higher, and then I'll start seeing more seal activity. I think those are eider ducks out in the distance moving by. There's a big flock. There's a big flock of them way out of range of the camera right now. That was a vape. We'll have another drink of water. The vape kind of dries the throat out a little. I can imagine what this harbor must have been like when Champlain arrived in 1604. He would have seen, I am guessing, my God, he would have seen 1,000 birds here, easy, maybe even more. And the fish would have been so plentiful, you probably dip a big water bucket down and pull it up and find fish in it. Yeah, back in those days, The Passamaquoddy, the Maliseet, Micmac, whoever was here, they only worked with like slate arrowheads and stuff like that. They hunted the seal. And the dolphin. They used harpoons. Their harpoons, I'm sure, had detachable harpoon heads, meaning they were tied with a line. The maritime archaic, they chased the swordfish. So almost all of the species of fish that are here today were so plentiful back in the paradise time, because today would seem like a desert compared to it, that even the swordfish in great numbers hunted those fish here. Yeah, during the days of the maritime archaic, I think they probably would have had wooden dugouts or hide-covered crafts. During the Susquehanna, I believe they would have had bark-covered craft or wooden dugouts. Back in the last 1,000 years, they had the birch bark canoe. But then again, the birch bark canoe could have existed as early as 3,000 years ago, because that's when the birch tree took hold on this part of the continent. People would call them the broadleaf trees. You see, the climate warmed, and broadleaf trees like the nut-bearing varieties and birches, they started growing then. Before 3,000 years ago, this was more a tundra, with the trees that grew then were the needled variety. Your spruce, your tamarack, maybe the pine. That would have been about, well, I guess 5,000 years ago. You would have seen stunted trees with shrubbery and tall plants. It was just tundra. But 4,000 years ago to 3,000 years ago, I believe it was the taller spruce and the pine that started taking hold. I would have to actually read up on it to see what it was really like. you're wondering about game animals, on the land it was caribou. The caribou came first, then the moose came. So those are the two main varieties of animals that would have been hunted on land 3,000 years ago. That's here, of course, in this region of the continent. The maritime, the Susquehanna, maritime Archaic, well, those people span thousands of years, as far back as 9,000 years ago, something like that. Those people really depended on the swordfish, the seal, maybe even the smaller whales. Because I know when Champlain arrived, when Cartier arrived in the 15th century, when the Basque arrived, and when Samuel de Champlain arrived in 1604, the natives did hunt whale. They hunted the dolphin, they hunted the whale, and they hunted the seal. All these things were much more numerous than they are today. It was a paradise. I guess that is about the end of this video. I am going to, I guess I will try filming the channel, the current by the channel buoy, and get some, film the cormorants fishing. They're kind of gathering over there now. These birds haven't taken off yet from this little piece of reef, but they will. They will join their brethren and they will go for their fish. I will see you online.